You know, it's good to know that even in an apocalypse, Golden Girls remains a universal comfort show all over the planet. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. The third episode of Pluribus is here. It is called Grenade. That title means a lot more when you get to the back end of this episode. Trying to generalize and place this show into a category, I feel like dramedy or black comedy is kind of where it keeps landing, almost like a satire at times. And while there are violent aspects that happen, there are some horrific elements that happen. At the heart, this is like, let's take a look, a magnifying glass at America and kind of like poke fun if we flipped everything on its head, what would happen to a lot of society? And that is what this show does. I think in the last episode we dealt a lot with what happens if you are one of the few who remain. How do you react? Like, what do you want to remain? What do you grab onto? And a lot of people, this is a very human characteristic because we have people trying to do it now. A parallel is people saying, hey, what if we could take the AI brain of our deceased one and put into an AI robot? Would we want to do so going forward to keep it alive? That is kind of in a way what's happening here with some of those people who wanted to hold on to the joined, even though it's no longer who the person that they act, the soul of who they loved is no longer there. This episode plays with the idea, and it's something that was bothering me in the last couple episodes when I was thinking about it. Like, why are these people so adamant to take care of these people? They could just wipe them off. Why are they so like they need to have them joined? And we get our answer in the back end of this episode. So we have a bit of a precursor before the credits where we visit 7 years before the joining, where Helen and Carol are out on one of their trips, their girls' trips, and they go to Norway to visit an ice hotel. It's a hotel that is all made of ice. Everything's ice. Helen's all for it. Carol's kind of like, I don't. This is ridiculous. But they're there. They're enjoying it. They get to see the aurora borealis through the ice. It's a really gorgeous and pretty moment, and it's something that in the moment Carol was not appreciating. But as we get further into the episode, we can see that it is a moment that we all have where we need to be a little bit more present in the moment that we're having, enjoy the moment that we're having, even if it's batshit crazy and you don't want to be a part of it. Take the time to breathe it in, enjoy it, because if that person's gone and you no longer have that memory, or that person's not there to share that memory with you, um, you're going to be much sadder that you did not fully invest in enjoying it at the time to just appreciate it. So on the flip side, back in present day, Carol has regained Zosha and they are on a plane back to her home. While on the plane, she's asking about like, hey, for the non-English speakers, since I've effed up all that I could with the people who do speak English, the folks that are not joined that don't speak English, do we have contact with them? And what do they do? Are any of them medical professionals? And Zosha sort of runs through the gamut of them all and ignores the one that is from Paraguay, which prompts Carol to ask, like, hey, you mentioned everybody but the one from Paraguay. What about them? And you can tell that the joint as a whole don't like to mention him and don't like to bring him up because he's the one that sort of was able to stay off the grid for a much longer period of time than the other ones. And so they're kind of like, yeah, we can reach out, but he's been very cagey about having conversation or having any sort of outreach with us. He's been very off the grid. But they do know the number to reach out to him. And so Carol calls him several times. He's not answering the first couple of times, and then he calls once and he does pick up and he calls her out of her name and tells her to go F off, to which Carol returns the favor back. And so clearly none of these people want to have a conversation with each other. I do think there's going to be a point in time where, because he is so off the grid and because he seems to be sort of the thorn in the side of the joined, I do think there's going to come a point in time when he becomes the bigger character and sort of gets introduced into Carol's orbit. But that ain't happening now. Upon arriving back at her homestead, Carol checks the mail and she gets the mail. She's going through it and she has a package that is delivered. She opens up the package and it's like a shiatsu massager, sort of. It's a stress reliever that was given to her. And so she immediately calls the join and like, hey, what is this? And they inform her that this was a gift that Helen, before being joined, got for you because she realized how stressed you were during the tour, how and how much you needed it. Carol was thinking that they did it on their own as a present. Like, no, this came from Helen before everything went down. So at that point, that Carol tells them, from this point forward, I want you guys to forget everything you can about Helen, her memories, her thoughts, uh, everything that you have on Helen. I need you to forget it because she's my friend. She's my memory. I get to have those memories, not you. You don't get to share those with me. Stop. And obviously, because the Join are very agreeable folks, they're like, okay, Carol, whatever it is you wish, Carol, so be it. So later the day, Carol is sort of vegging out, eating food. She doesn't have much stuff in her house, but she's watching Golden Girls, comforting. And they send her some food. They send her food that they think she would like. Um, Carol calls them, like, did you guys send me this? Like, what is this? And they're like, well, we know your fridge is empty. So we felt like this would be the best way to sort of give you some food. And Carol was like, I thought I gave you specific orders to not access the memories of Helen. And they're like, hold on, no, we did not. You may not recall this, but you had a maid come in while you were on tour, and they saw that your fridge wasn't stacked. And well, they're part of the join, so we got that information. And Carol's like, Jesus Christ. Okay, got it. And so she adamantly doesn't want the help of the joint as far as her food. She's very independent. She's like, nah, I don't want you to help me. I will shop for myself. I will cook for myself. I've been living this long by myself. I don't need you guys to wait on me hand and foot. So she then goes on a store run because, well, the joint were right. She ain't got nothing in the fridge. And so she goes over to Sprouts. She pulls up, goes in, and the store is completely empty, bare to the bone. There is absolutely nothing inside of that Sprouts. And so she reaches out to the joint and be like, what the hell is going on? Like, why is this store completely empty? And they inform her that, hey, for the betterment of the world and so that we have access to everything, we have reallocated all medical and vegetable and food and everything that's an essential item. We have put in a central location so that if a person, one of you 12 that remain, need it, we can get it to you without much hassle. We have access to it all. It's all in one hub and we can distribute it easily. And Carol's like, cool. This isn't going to work for me. And they're like, well, we can deliver the groceries to your house. What is it that you want? She's like, no, I just want to shop for myself. I want the store to go back the way that it was. She just wants her Sprouts back. And then probably one of the funniest and most terrifying things that could possibly happen in the show occur while she is standing there still in the store. Everyone, all the joins started to abscond upon this Sprouts with like 7 or 8 food trucks. And then everybody kind of comes in to restock the store. And I would say probably about a 45 to 55 minute time frame. Like they are all there. It's like lemmings. They've got a assembly line. It is crazy and it is terrifying. And they restock the store completely from top to bottom. It is a fully fleshed out store again, all for one person. And so it is amazing, again, how wasteful all of this is, because a lot of that food is going to go to waste, but they're going to keep it in stock because Carol needs what she needs and she wants to go about living her life the way that she can. And they want to provide that for her. So she goes to shop. So back at home, eating the dinner that she cooked, and while watching TV, the power shuts off, just starts randomly gridding off. She can see that like parts of the city just start going black. And she reaches out to the joint and they're like, she's like, what is happening? Why is the power going out? And they inform her, like, well, this is our way of conserving power and energy. Like, we don't need it to survive. There's no crime out here, so there's no reason to have people out. The only reason that we would have the lights on are for essential workers, like trash can, people like that. And since you guys are also spread out, we know where the power blocks need to be turned on. We just made a mistake and flipped yours. That's on us. It's back on, but we're going to keep it at a low energy so that we can salvage and maintain all the energy. And she's like, this is what are we doing? Like, what is happening? You can tell that she's upset, but she understands now that she has to be a little bit more cautious with her wavelength and the way that she speaks to folks. So she kind of is like, I'm upset, but still keeping calm and using like sarcasm as her way of getting things across, as opposed to just being angry in the moment. In that sarcasm, she says, they asked her like, well, is that, are the lights being at where they're at, does that make you happy? And she's like, oh yeah, I'm so happy. I am through the moon about everything that's happening. The only thing that could possibly make me happier is if I had a hand grenade. Um, which, yeah, they bring it to her. Zosha comes in the next, like a couple hours later, a couple minutes later, actually, with a grenade. It's like, sorry it took so long. We had to go find it. And Carol's like, wait, you guys actually brought me a grenade. And Zosha's like, yes, we did so. Only off chance we knew that there might be a possibility you meant it, but there's also a possibility that this was being sarcastic. So we just brought it just in case. Was this sarcasm? This is sarcasm. I'm going to go ahead and take this back. And Carol's like, nope, no. Bring me the grenade. Bring me the grenade. And do you freaks drink? And she's like, come on in and have a drink. Because if nothing else, while all those other people have a companion to talk to, they're sort of in their homestead, their parents, their concubines, their son. Carol's is off and away. And so the person she used to sort of interact with was Helen. Now that that is removed, she's kind of trying to find that interaction with someone else. And even though it's not a human, there needs to be some type of human interaction. Just watching Golden Girls, as great of a show as it is not going to get the job done all the time. So she invites Zosha in, and they have some drinks. Zosha is breaking down the molecular tasting and makeup of the vodka that they're drinking, and Carol's like, this is not the conversations that I wanted to have. Carol asked two good questions in this. One, she asked like, hey, if you start drinking and get saucy and get drunk, does the 6-year-old somewhere else, are they feeling the same reverberations of that alcoholism? So she's like, no, that's not how it works. So we know that they don't, if one person is getting drunk or burned or whatever, the others don't feel it. It doesn't work on that level. Good to know. And then Carol follows up, was like, well, how long before I become joined? And Zosha says, I don't have an answer for that. We are constantly around the clock working on it. Could be days, could be weeks, it could be months, could be longer. We don't have an answer for that, but we are actively trying. And then Carol brings up the point that I was sort of bringing up in the last episode, and that you guys want Carol to have all this agency. You want her to be whatever is best for her. You want her to be taken care of. You want to provide everything for her. But you guys are actively trying to create a piece of the serum that has her join you guys. Like, those two things don't jive. Those two things don't mix up. Like, you're taking care of me until you don't have to, and then I'm just one, and I'm one of your mini lemmings. Zosha says, it's like this. It's like you, if you were a human and you went by and you saw somebody drowning in the lake, you would do what it is that you can to provide that person a life preserver, get them and save them from drowning. And Carol's like, oh, so me being alive, me having this agent, me is, you're saying that I'm drowning. All of you are living the best life, but what I'm doing is drowning while you guys are all trying to take care of me and make sure that I can choke on my own vomit, so to speak. And Joe's like, yeah, that's pretty much the equivalent of it. Like, to the join, Carol is drowning, and they're doing whatever they can to keep her afloat until she's one with them. Carol starts reminiscing about, like, you want to take away all of these things that I've had, these memories that I have, and she brings up the Helen memory. She starts the Helen memory. It's the memory that happened at the very beginning of the episode in Norway. She starts the Helen memory, and then Zosha finishes it off. And like, yeah, seeing the Aurora Borealis in the middle of Norway. And that pisses Carol off. She's like, I told you, mother, stop accessing Helen's memories. I don't want to hear anything Helen related come out of your mouth again. She then takes the grenade and removes the pin because she is under the impression that there is no way in the blue hell these joined are going to give her a live grenade. Like, it's a joke. So she takes the pin. I was like, la, 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 la. And at that point, Zosha immediately gets up. It's like, Carol, that's a real grenade. Do you mind if I have that? And she takes it and throws it out the window, and then it explodes. And there's this massive explosion that happens outside of her homestead. And Carol steps out and sees the damage that it has caused. And then Zosha steps out, and in the blast, she jumped on top of Carol to protect her, but then took a little bit of the shrapnel from her end and is bleeding out on the back. It's kind of in a damaged way. Carol's like, what the? Why would they give me a live grenade? But she immediately goes to try and protect and help Zosha. She takes off her shirt and tries to put pressure on the bleeding and starts yelling like, "Hey, I need to call for the doctors." And Zosha's like, "Don't worry, they're already on their way because they're connected." So we then see at the hospital, Zosha's going to be fine. She's going to make it out. But she is talking to a representative from the Joined, played by a pretty hilarious, facially, a black dude that is giving Carol the update as to about how Zosha's going to be. And Carol starts asking some other questions. She's like, "Well, why would you guys give me a grenade?" Like, she's like, "Well, you asked for one. That's what you said you wanted." And then Carol's like, "Well, would you give me anything that I asked for?" And she started going down sort of the ramp, all of them. It's like, "Hey, would you give me a rocket launcher and a rocket?" They're like, "Yeah, we would." "Cool. Would you give me an atom bomb, like a nuclear weapon?" And they're like, "Well, I mean, yeah, we would. We would have some reservations. We would tell you about the dangers of having such a weapon, but yeah, we would give that for you." And then he comes back and is like, "Would you like a nuclear weapon?" And she's like, "You know what? Let me get back to you on that." And they're kind of like, "Oh, geez, what? Please say no," because they can't make Carol or anybody else that has an opinion angry. They don't want to make them upset, and so they're willing to acquiesce to anything that they do. Which then Carol says, "Hey, can you leave me for a moment?" And she sits there to contemplate. "Oh, that's a fun little thing. Like, I can ask for anything in the world, no matter how dangerous it is, and they're going to give it to me. Cool." And that's how the episode ends. A fun episode. A lot. I think my favorite two scenes is one, the shopping center. That is just brilliant to see that, like, how it's completely empty. They're like, "Oh, we can restock it for you. That's our bad. We could just deliver the food. Where if you want to shop yourself, that makes sense. We'll restock it." And just seeing everybody abscond upon that, it's terrifying and funny at the same time. And I do think the sequence with the grenade and Zosha coming over plays into the concept of like saying yes all the time. Sometimes can come at the the lack of awareness and lack of self preservation on the join's behalf. Like, you can't just give them whatever they want. I mean, I'm assuming that's how Kumba wound up with Air Force One, but like there has to be some type of a thing. And that's what sort of, when you have the agency of the autonomy to say, make these decisions and make these opinions and do these things for yourself, you can filter out the yeses and the nos, or the things that are positive for you as a person and things that are going to be negative to others. But not having that, Carol's kind of now collecting the things that, okay, two things were learned. One, you guys can't say no to me about anything, weapon wise or whatever. And two, if one person's drunk or getting fired or gets hurt, it doesn't affect you all. So those are two key elements to sort of learn and keep with and stick with. And yeah, I can't get enough of this show. Guys, this is one of those ones. It's been a while since I've had, probably, no, I won't say a while, because Dexter, this last season of Dexter actually did it too. But before that, it's been a while since I've had a show that made me feel and think about it long after the fact. And this is one of those ones where I'm playing it over in my head. I'm thinking about things, and it has funny moments, scary moments, and just outright sad moments. I think Helen or Carol thinking about the scenario when she went 7 years ago with Helen to Norway meant a lot to her in that moment. And she doesn't want to, Helen's not here. So she should be the only person who has that memory now. And now she feels sort of violated that the world has that memory for her. And for her, she didn't even appreciate it in that moment. And all of them can appreciate it from Helen's side, because Helen loves it. And Helen had, like, they're getting the great part of the memory, where her memory, she remembers it because it was with Helen, but she didn't have that. She wasn't appreciating in the moment. And now she feels a little both violated and a little bit dirty, in that she didn't have the same sort of reaction. And then theirs isn't a true reaction, because they're kind of just reciting it off of a connected hive mind. It's stuff like that that lets you play with. You think about it, and you're like, so many levels the show works on. Vince, you son of a bitch, you did it again. What did you guys think about the third episode of Pluribus, called Grenade? Go to leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on X at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDid@gmail.com. We also have a podcast by the same name. That's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the place podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.